Vinicius Jr. and Benzema. Picks him out beautifully, and he's never going to miss that, is he, the Frenchman? It's not been the easiest games for him. Hasn't had too many chances. He had that earlier header that he
Back with us on the SportsMax zone. The UEFA Champions League continued earlier on this Tuesday with 2 quarter-final second leg encounters. Chelsea, they had the onerous task of overturning a 3-1 deficit against Real Madrid, and they would play this game at the Santiago Bernabeu, and we have those highlights.
Well, we are underway, second leg. Comes all the way through for a breakthrough goal for Chelsea. That changes the perspective.
Game on. He's been in majestic form, Mason Mount. He certainly was at Southampton at the weekend. Can do no wrong, and he took that.
Real Madrid continue. And here is Vinicius against James again. James sweeps it away from him. Benzema! Corner. Another corner with plenty of height on it. And it's headed in. Tony Rudiger. And Chelsea are level on aggregate. They lead 2-0 on the night. Was it a corner?
Well, no, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. But none of that matters now. It's Rudiger who's done this so often in a Chelsea shirt.
65 minutes here. Mendy. Benzema! Well, they've been going in week after week. Alonso, Kovacic for Werner. They've opened Real Madrid up here. Werner, Timo Werner still going. And it's ended up in the back of the net. And surely this one's going to count.
Hurt himself along the way, but this will be the biggest goal of his club career if he gets his team through. Certainly onside. How many chances did he have to let fly? Yeah, comes off Courtois, and Alaba on the line takes the ball away from him. So Mendy, support here, seeing their team labour, struggle to.
Modric, it's a great ball. Rodrigo arrives with a flourish.
What a pass this was. What an assist. Absolutely brilliant from Luka Modric outside of the peg. Look at that for a ball.
The home team, the goal lifting the morale. Modric wants one for himself. Parried to where Mendy can collect at the second attempt. Well, in extraordinary circumstances, we go to extra time in the Bernabeu Stadium. Camavinga quickly to make the interception, and here is Vinicius Jr. looking for Benzema. He doesn't miss this time. Is he going to make the difference yet again? Tuchel read in frustration.
Well, it's their two main men yet again in attack, isn't it? Vinicius Jr. and Benzema. Picks him out beautifully, and he's never going to miss that, is he, the Frenchman? It's not been the easiest games for him. Hasn't had too many chances. He had that earlier header.
Last chance for the holders of the Champions League. Ziyech. Chelsea win the match, but Real Madrid win the tie.
So Carlo Ancelotti's boys heroic on the night, conquering a very, very plucky Chelsea team who will now reflect on an ordinary performance at Stamford Bridge, which is where, of course, they lost this tie. Meanwhile, Bayern's coach, Julian Nagelsmann, described his team's first leg quarterfinal matchup against Villarreal as tame. He was talking about their performance. That off day left the German club, because they did have an off day, left them trailing 1-0 from the first leg. So, how did they fare in leg 2?
One of the great upsets if Villarreal knock out Bayern, but they knocked out Juventus.
Absolutely, Steve. I was just about to say they did a fantastic job. Yeah.
Coman. Lewandowski looking for room in the middle, and Dani Parejo's clearance, well, that fell kindly. Kimmich with the delivery, it really dipped and swerved on the edge of that 6-yard box. Sané, Goretzka, oh, good save! Back to Dani Parejo. 3 minutes for indicated, 3 have been played. That's a lovely ball, Gerard Moreno's side netting. Scored once for Bayern, Upamecano, here's Müller, here's Lewandowski, and it's in! And are level on aggregate.
Well, first time over these 2 legs, Steve, that they've got the ball into the feet of Lewandowski on the edge of the box. They're guilty of overplaying. And when it's intercepted, who do you want with the ball on the 18-yard line? Lewandowski.
Oh, Sané beautifully away from Coquelin. Insider Stupinant, great ball! Oh! Goodness me, Thomas Müller. That's nice, here's Lo Celso. Lo Celso trying to get away from Kingsley Coman. That's a decent ball. Gerard Moreno, Chukwueze scores! And Villarreal surely are into the semi-finals of the Champions League. Surely put Villarreal in the last 4.
Steve, this is the most brilliant counter-attack from Villarreal on the night. Parejo, brilliant composure to feed the ball to Lo Celso. He shows strength with the ball under a lot of pressure, toes it into the path of Moreno. Now, can Moreno deliver that all-important pass? Yes, he can. Chukwueze, the substitute. What an impact from the substitute. Probably his only second touch in the game.
Should be cleared by Aurier. He's going to run it forward as far as he can. Chukwueze is giving him a pass, and he's played that pass, and it's gone out of play off Upamecano, and that might do it. The referee from Slovenia has checked his watch. They're ready to go, and they've done it. Villarreal are into the semi-finals of the Champions League. What an absolutely fantastic achievement.
Famous manager once said, football, bloody hell, yeah? Lance, football, bloody hell.
well, let's start with that Real Madrid-Chelsea classic, George, because Chelsea had it all to do going into this match, and many people felt the tie was pretty much over with Real Madrid going home with a 2-0 advantage. And for long periods in the match, Chelsea looked as if they were doing enough to get the result they needed. But Real Madrid showing their comfort in UEFA Champions League football. And what a pass there from Luka Modric to set up the Rodrigo goal. But for long periods, as we said, first half, deep into the second half or midway the second half, Chelsea appeared as if they were stealing it.
Oh yeah, the Croatian midfielder, Luka Modric, is a magical little player. We saw that at the last World Cup where he was the MVP. Look, as we said when we were analysing the football game, Lance, the game was a contrast in approaches. Neither team going hell for leather early, as we see the great pass here once again. But as Chelsea got closer to getting the job done, it's human. They took a breath. And it was in that moment of taking that breath, filling their lungs, that Real Madrid struck back. And what a wonderful goal it was. And then Benzema in extra time settled matters, because we were wondering if the game would have gone by and the best goal scorer on both squads, or in both squads, wouldn't have had something to say for himself. This is just tremendous. Look, the pass made the run. Rodrigo was heading towards goal, but the pass showed him where he ought to be running, right between the two defenders, and it was perfection. And the finish, it required some finishing.
Yeah.
And it got the treatment.
Yeah, to be honest, the pass was classic, but that finish was also delightful.
Yes.
Because the technique shown there by Rodrigo to finish there, because the pass was brilliant and setting up with the opportunity, but it took real technical quality to deliver the shot on goal.
And again, Benzema is scoring his... Well, he scored 3 in the first leg. So the 2 headers he scored. He scores a 3rd header in the 2 games against Chelsea, unmarked.
Yeah.
There were so many defenders around him, and yet he was able to meet that header with no body, or no physical body on him. Look, Camavinga wins it, feeds Vinicius Jr. The Brazilian, who's erratic, waits. He waits. Thiago, you notice, hands behind his back. doesn't tackle, he's just jockeying and gives Vinicius Junior the chance to find the deadliest man on the pitch, perhaps the deadliest man in the entire stadium. And yet Chelsea left him by himself because they said, well, yeah, that's criminal defending.
Yeah, Rudiger was probably closest to him, saw him late. By the time he was moving toward Benzema, the ball had already arrived at Benzema's head, and he had no chance there. The sorry sight of Rudiger stumbling as he made a futile effort to try to get to close the header off. Rudiger himself had a big game today. He scored one of the goals for Chelsea that kept Chelsea's plan on track. And he had so much offensive play tonight, Rudiger, that you could see he had his heart 100% into this fixture. There's the goal. And even after that, there were a lot of times when he was in the Real Madrid defensive third, hunting an opportunity to score. So a huge disappointment for Chelsea because they had gone so close to getting the result. But to be honest, Real Madrid, you have to say dodged a bullet here, George, because they looked going in as if they would be comfortable in going through to the semis, but in the end they had to work really hard and come from behind to get it.
Yeah, when teams lose these games, the pundits criticize what they did, highlight what they did wrong and criticize the team. Chelsea would feel as if they let it slip, as I said from the first leg. But today, they played an excellent game of football. Make no bones about it, because they went to the Bernabeu and they scored 3 goals against a Real Madrid team that were keyed and focused. They were, for large parts of this game, better than them. If they had, I mean, it's easy to say, but had they defended better, we'd be talking about a Chelsea semi-final appearance, knowing how they overcame adversity. That said, when you have world-class players in your squad, and this is why when you pay players big bucks, players who get paid big bucks have to deliver on the big occasion. Benzema did it, Modric did it with the pass, and then Rodrigo, a youngster recruited from Brazil, from beneath the noses of some of Europe's biggest teams. Before anybody started talking about Rodrigo as next in line, Real Madrid had signed him already, left him to simmer in Brazil for a little while, then brought him over. The same thing with Vinicius Junior, and both those men had crucial roles to play, one with a goal, one with an assist. I'm telling you, this is what top-level football is about. Big players rise to the occasion, Lance. They're like yeast. Yeah, the rising agent. Yeah. They stand and they're counted, and Real Madrid's big players answered the call when they needed them, because Chelsea, in the run of the game, were better than them today.
Yeah, and part of the issue for Chelsea too was that they had worked so hard for 90 minutes to ensure that they could get a result out of this game, that maybe in extra time the team with the fresher legs would have been Real Madrid, because Chelsea had worked their socks off 150% to propel themselves into a position where they could win this tie and go through to the semi-final. So I just thought that in extra time, Real Madrid's effort, which was more measured, probably set them up for, you know, having the better finish than Chelsea did.
And when you look at the history of fixtures such as these, this is why home crowd advantage is so crucial. When you're in extra time, it's almost like a horse race when you're in deep stretch. You need that crowd. You need some encouragement to make you feel stronger as you approach the finish line, wherever that finish line is. Chelsea, you would say, were perhaps a touch weak entering deep stretch. Real Madrid, by virtue of being at home, entered deep stretch still strong. And that was the difference between the teams.
I want to be provocative here a bit to George in the selection of Tuchel. Well, the decision by Tuchel to pull Timo Werner out of the game. I can't believe I'm saying this, but because of the kind of game he had and the kind of game he plays, I'm not sure I would have taken Timo Werner off deep in the game.
Well, it was a gamble. It was a gamble that we can say no, didn't work. But if you look at everything else Tuchel did in preparing for this game, his pre-game strategy, his cajoling of the players during the game to continue executing what he had prepared them to do, he lost few marks today, if any. The Timo Werner question, I can accept that. But he did everything else right.
When he was making the substitution, I said it, George. So I'm not just saying it in hindsight.
No, man.
It was one of the best games we saw Timo Werner play. And I know that because of how he plays, he would probably have been spent, you know, going towards the 90th minute. So he probably needed
a lot of running over the course of the game.
But George, given his game and the fact that his confidence, which is usually very low, would have been higher. I'm not a Timo Werner fan, as you know, but given what happened today and how he plays and the sort of pressure that he constantly puts on defenders, I don't think I would have taken him out of the game today.
Here why I would say it's a good call.
Yes.
It wasn't scoring that let Chelsea down today. It was defending. Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't as if there was a chance presented or created that perhaps you're saying, well, if Werner was there, he would have made an assist or he would have scored himself.
Or maybe they would have scored more.
It was
George, that goal, obviously not done with the finesse of Pedri, but looked similar to the Barcelona goal that Pedri scored based on where he was and getting by a few defenders. I know it sounds like
I hesitate to join Timo Werner and Pedri, but I see the general point you're making.
It didn't have the finesse, but remember, it looked, there were some similarities.
Look, if a team can give us back, if the team can give us back the Benzema goal, if the team gives us back the Benzema goal, I'd appreciate it, because I just wanted to look at the play developing from the moment Camavinga passed the ball to Vinicius, and then what the defenders did again with Benzema. Again, listen, people will tell you, if you stop it right here, stop it right here, good. So Vinicius Junior now, Lance, is taking possession.
Yes.
There is a defender who's turning, and Benzema is on his right shoulder. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 other Chelsea men who are also running back towards goal. Let it run a bit. Let it run. Good. Stop it right here. Oh, go back. Go back a touch.
Slightly.
I wanted it over. Stop it right here. Right here. Good. Benzema heads towards either the penalty spot, which is where you're coached to run to, or just outside the penalty spot, inside the 18-yard box.
And none of them go with him.
None of them go with him. So hold on. Just keep it there, Mr. Producer. I'm saying, when you're analyzing things like these, people often will tell you, well, his movement was so good. Lance, he's not doing anything special. He's not doing any movement that will bamboozle anybody. And there are enough defenders heading back for one of them to commit to say, you know what? If you score from this play, Mr. Benzema, you're going to have to score with me pressuring you. Let it run. Let it run. Good. Vinicius Junior, he waits. Stop it right here. Stop it right here. Now this late run, I can't make out who's this has entered the box late. Maybe it's Rodrigo who's entered the box late. Yeah? Good. He now runs into a position. Rudiger now has 2 men to tangle with, so he doesn't know who to go to. And perhaps that is the key moment. But every other Chelsea defender, I don't know why 2 men are shielding for Vinicius. Thiago Silva is already jockeying Vinicius. There is Kovacic behind Thiago Silva. And if you let it run from here, look at this. Benzema now. Stop. Well, before he headed it in. Before, go back to Vinicius Junior's cross. I'm sorry, Mr. Producer, you have to work with us. I'm sorry. Good. Right here. What Benzema does now is to back away to create more space for him. So let it run just a little bit. You see? Stop. You see the back away? That now, and he's right on the penalty spot. That's where he was intending to go all along. That's where Vinicius Junior was looking to pick him out. So yes, Lance, there was subtlety and cleverness in the movement. But there wasn't movement of the kind that is bamboozling these boys defending. They've never seen movement like this before, so nobody could get a body on him. And I'm telling you, Thomas Tuchel be saying, gentlemen, so you're saying that nobody could even get within an arm's length to even try to unbalance
but the fact is, George, no one is even looking at him.
And that's the point I'm making.
Everyone is facing the ball.
The most dangerous man inside the Santiago Bernabeu. Nobody has eyes for him except Vinicius. Vinicius is the only man watching Benzema all the while. Where is Karim going? Oh, that's where you wanted Karim? Here's the pass. Boom.
Yes.
And that's game, set, and match right there.
So Tuchel will be disappointed with the defensive performance there, although overall he has to be encouraged by the sort of fight and spirit that his team showed today. But you are right, that was an atrocious bit of defending there, especially against a player like Benzema, who is so prolific and who you know will score against you if given an opportunity.
And the beauty about that goal again, lads, just at the last bit when he was stood there, he realized that Vinicius was waiting, and those 2 steps back, just to give himself more space to then go forward to attack the ball, because he expected it to be just stood up for him to attack. That was what he did was beautiful, efficient, but nothing extraordinary. And the defenders weren't paying him any mind. They thought that the man with the ball was more dangerous than Benzema.
So. There were points in the second half, George, that I thought Chelsea would have won this tie, because I saw some body language from the Real Madrid men that told me that they weren't in for the fight today. There was a point I looked at Benzema and his shoulders almost looked drooped. I didn't want to read too much into that because I know Benzema is the type of player who will just spring to life at any given moment. But there was a point in the second half where I looked at a lot of the Real Madrid players and they looked flustered and I don't want to say defeated, but they looked as if they weren't in this fight.
Well, you are correct about the body language, but the body language would have to. But if you're 3-1 down in the game, Lance,
yes,
you are walking around on that pitch saying to yourself, "How did we find ourselves in this position?
That's right.
How did we
and that's what I saw.
Yes.
Oh,
and we're at home. How did we haven't played well? What's happening?" But I want to highlight to you this thing again. Different coaches have different ways of getting results. We praise certain coaches for getting results as if that's the only way to get results. How many times watching the game, Lance, did you see Carlo Ancelotti resort to histrionics, screaming at players, getting worked up on the sidelines? Hands in pocket, just looking at the action. He trusted those men today, Lance. The substitutions he made, he wasn't taking a chance. He knew who he put on and what he was expecting from them in terms of a contribution. And look at it. Rodrigo came off the bench and found the crucial one in regulation time. So Camavinga came off the bench and provided the first pass to Vinicius Jr. that set Benzema on his way to getting that decisive second goal for Real Madrid today. So that is just a contrast. It doesn't mean that being cool and calm all the time works better than being histrionic and theatrical. It just shows that there are more than one ways to get maximum effort.
Time and place. There's a time and place. I remember a couple of days ago, or maybe it was late last week, or could it have been yesterday, Brent Sancho was on, and you were talking about the aerial square passes across your own, defensive third.
When trying to play out of the press.
And he used the word caliber. So when players like Toni Kroos and Luka Modric would do that effortlessly, other teams would feel there's a high risk in doing that. And I think that's part of what allowed Real Madrid to rise to the top today. The caliber of players they got, and even when their backs were against the wall, they didn't panic, and they relied on their quality to get them through. And just Modric is going to be 37 years old, I think, later this year, and the quality of his play never fails to amaze me. He's a high quality player. George, I had liked Modric's skill from his days in the EPL with Tottenham Hotspur, and he just continues to show that he's not a normal player.
Sir Alex Ferguson tried to buy him twice before he went to Real Madrid from Spurs.
That would have been a good buy.
That would have been an excellent buy. Let me tell you this. Let me point out something else though. Real Madrid were second best in this game. We accept that. Chelsea played football good enough to have gone through, but Real Madrid's big men came to the fore. But also, Lance, look at this now. In a time of need, who did Carlo Ancelotti turn to? He turned to a couple players among his substitutes who are still making their reputation. The young man, Eduardo Camavinga, his backstory is fascinating. How he found his way to France, how his family eats because of him. His whole family. He is the first one to be able to earn decent. Well, he's on the way to being a multi-billionaire now, but he's the first one to be able to take his family out of circumstances that would have consigned them to poverty had it not been for him. I'm saying that his reputation is nowhere near forged. He's a player of tremendous promise. He's a player on the come up. He helped change the game for Real Madrid. Again, Rodrigo, another young player whose reputation is being forged, came off the bench. Carlo Ancelotti had no need for Gareth Bale. A superstar, proven time and time and again. When Real Madrid were chasing La Decima, the 10th Champions League crown for so many years, Ancelotti delivered it with Gareth Bale. And of course, Di Maria's help against Atletico Madrid. The fact of the matter is, Ancelotti did not need that. He did not trust that. He wanted the hungry boys, the boys with something to prove, not the person who was just going on for going on's sake. I'm being a professional, I'm going to answer the coach's call and going on. That is not normally something that you'd have seen from Real Madrid in the days gone by when the model was different. It was the Galactico era where you had to have a team filled with superstars and a couple other fringe players. And if you wanted to change a game, you had to call on a superstar from the bench. I'm very pleased for Ancelotti, Lance, that he was able to call on two players who are building their names to support the men on the field whose reputations are cast in stone. Modric, Benzema and company. It was very good to see from a Real Madrid perspective.
Yeah, no question about it, because Ancelotti has been charged with a rebuilding a platform for this Real Madrid team. And what he showed today in bringing these young players on who are unheralded up to this point by Real Madrid standards was that there is a lot to look for with this Real Madrid team in the future. And Ancelotti's skill and strategic excellence was on display again today.
Yep, as we go to the break, I say this to you. I hate when footballers tell me that they have nothing to prove. Every time a footballer for me or an athlete takes to the court, takes to the field, takes to the pool, they have something to prove. And I keep telling you, I remember years ago watching an interview, an England squad was announced, and the then Middlesbrough winger Stuart Downing had found himself in the England squad. He played for Liverpool as well. Downing was at a press conference and Stuart Downing was telling the press that he had nothing to prove. And I said, Stuart Downing? A no-name footballer, a man who has no titles to his name. He's not regarded world over. He's not highly coveted anywhere. Says he has nothing to prove. His career turned out to be a nothing-to-prove career. Both Rodrigo and Camavinga, who came on today, Lance, had something to prove.
And did.
They proved that they belong at Real Madrid and they can help the club to turn big matches in their favor. That's what being professional and being a star is all about.
Break time? Yeah.
Thank you for watching SportsMax on YouTube. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and to click the notification bell to stay informed.